All right, today I would like to attempt to help with a paradigm shift that I think is useful. This is a thought experiment. So I want you to imagine a concept as nothing more than a term and a definition. Shouldn't be hard, right? So that term, definition, coupling, that makes a concept, then is made up of many terms. And each of those terms in turn have a definition. So far so good, nothing unusual. The paradigm shift comes when we realize that when it comes to proper names and the objects all around us, in this structure at least, there's no difference. The assassination of President Lincoln functions much the same way as the definition of a musical note, or of a gun, or of, some abstract concept, time, being itself. They function the same way, though. We have a term that calls out the event, in the case of the assassination of President Lincoln, and then we have a number of terms that are ordered in such a way as to lay out what we mean by the assassination of President Lincoln. And so, why is that a paradigm shift? It's a paradigm shift because we realize once we do that we can treat many concepts, many practical concepts we can actually treat or model abstractly. And in fact, I would say when it comes to things like our skills, things that we name and we can to some degree describe, but we can't describe how we do them, like the actual muscle memory, nerve to muscle, repetitious capacity. We could try, but even if we did all the scientific descriptions, we would still not train our muscles. Our muscles would not know how to do an act, no matter how completely we defined the act of, say, digging a hole or throwing a ball. Those things come from memory, from muscle memory, from something like skill, something like action. So the reason I want to point this out is because there's a strange thing that happens. With the abstract, with anything truly abstract that has no reference, no direct reference, no object reference, then there's a singular sense in which a term is pointing towards something. But when it comes to things that require action or are actions in reality, there is a doubling effect. There is the term that we use to describe the act, then there is the muscle memory format of the action, which we do not have conscious access to, and then there is whatever descriptive concept one has that describes the act. And what I'm trying to point out is that description of the action is just as abstract as math. It's just as abstract as any other non-object oriented term. And that is going to be important when you're dealing with epistemology, when you're dealing with ontology, and a lot of these other things. And it is also handy, this is harder for me to describe. This is really the reason I wanted to do this video. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it justice, actually. When one realizes that a great deal of the terms in one's mind, these practical terms like my wife or Branch, my son, not the tree branch. My son happens to be named Branch. Anyway, any of these kind of things, one is not merely referencing the object, or how do I say this? One is not merely referencing a person, a place, a thing, or the way they interact. One is also referencing one's abstractions of these things. That's pretty good. That's part of the point. And more to the point, the way we think about math and logic, those same rules apply to the abstract side of that term, the abstract definition of that term. But the question is, do they apply to the practical side, to the skill side, to the being of the person? That's less clear. Like, we can have a model, a kind of conceptual model of our mates, our children, our workplace, even our own actions as we do a skilled job. We can have this conceptual linguistic model, but it is always good to remember that we do not have the thing itself modeled, and that there's that doubling again, that it is both the thing that you have no conscious contact with, whether it is a muscle memory or whether it is your emotional response to the person, the memories that they bring up. These things are something other than the concept itself. But there is a concept layer. And I suppose one other tie-in I could make to this is that it is good to be humble, such that we are always updating our concepts, whether those concepts, again, are abstract ones or whether they're very practical ones. Okay, I think that's it.